Hey guys, I'm Michael.
I'm John.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of The Verdict.
What's it about?
It is about the death sentence. Ooh. Yeah, it gets real. So, why don't you go over to our Instagram and let us know what you would decide, life or death?
And let us know what other topics you would like us to explore with this series.
We will see you on the other side.
All right, enjoy.
It's actually almost like more humane to kill the person.
We brought together 12 strangers in a social experiment. We give them a case that's based on a real trial to see if they will be able to come to the same verdict as the original jury, death penalty or life sentence. Will they be able to decide unanimously on the verdict? Hello, jury.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. I'm Matoki, and I will be leading you on this case today. As the jurors, it is your duty to talk amongst yourselves, discuss, deliberate in order to come to a unanimous decision. Are you ready?
Yes.
Do it. The defendant has been found guilty of a double homicide committed in the parking lot outside his victim's place of work. Victim number 1 was leaving work when the defendant shot him in the back of the head with a .38 caliber pistol, killing him instantly. The defendant then left the scene only to return soon after to kill victim number 2, who was heard screaming after discovering victim number 1's dead body. Now, it is your duty to come together, use your moral compass and intellect to come to a unanimous verdict. Death sentence or life sentence? Your time starts now.
As of now, who wants to do life sentence? Raise your hand.
With the information given, I feel like life sentence is the best.
Like, this person's getting punished regardless. Like, that's not up for debate. They are gonna get punished.
I think it should be more life sentence because it sounds like he planned it out, shoot the first victim in the back, he waited for the second victim, so he should spend his life in prison thinking about what he'd done, because I feel like death sentence is kind of like the quick escape. What do you guys think?
I'm going based off of the information I was given.
Okay.
There was no information like, oh, it was a mom, it was a baby, like it was a brother.
Agreed.
Like none of that was
Agreed.
ever mentioned. And if it was mentioned, then maybe I'd change my mind.
What these two people that he killed, like, threatened him, or like he felt like his life was at stake. Like, we don't know who these two people were.
I think in the example, it said the second person screamed.
Like he,
you know,
he came
like,
back
oh, like,
because there was a witness, so he came back to murder his witness.
If he only killed the one person, though, would you say life sentence? And just because he killed the second, is it death penalty? Is that what the thing is?
I think that second murder is what really put it at the top.
I still want to understand the reasoning why he did this. Because it's for us as society to understand, to know, like, why would you even choose to do this to someone?
Like, what if, like, they weren't in the right mental state? What if they were,
Yeah,
like,
that's what
drunk or high?
I
Or
don't think-
what if they're mentally incapable?
You know, you're bringing mental health into this and being like, okay, maybe he had these issues or that. Pleading insanity wins literally less than 1% of the time. So I don't think it's fair for us to use that as some source of like understanding why he did that. I don't think a mental health, I think it's a contribution, but I don't think it's enough for us to really sway our decision from life to death.
And life sentence, I mean, like, have you guys watched Orange is the New Black? Like, I wouldn't want to be up in there for, like, for life, you know what I mean?
It's actually almost like more humane to kill the person than it is to
I
have
think
them
the
brought.
I was really trying to like push for what the most humane option would have been. I would rather die than to live in the conditions that, you know, most prisoners live in.
To like take someone's life, that's gonna sit on your conscience for the rest of your life.
Again, but that's
right?
that's like, I think, very idealistic to assume that everyone thinks like that. Because there's also
But
a lot
it's
of-
also like very cynical to be like, oh, well, there's a bunch of people that don't think like that. So
There are
why
a
not?
bunch of people that
There's definitely a bunch of people.
I feel like the death penalty is...
Okay, please pause your deliberations.
He's gonna give us more information.
Please raise your hands if you believe that he should be sentenced to the death sentence. Okay, 2 of you. Now, how many hands for the life sentence? Okay.
I still need more information, but I'm almost.
Yeah, for
Here comes
now
the
with
plot
what you told
twist.
us life.
I want the plot
Well,
twist.
guess what I have right here?
plot twist.
We wanted to see if this new information would change their votes. After his arrest for the 2 murders, the defendant was analyzed by 2 psychiatrists. They found him to be suffering from schizophrenia. It was also determined that the defendants had no previous relationship with either of the victims. Please continue.
If, like the psychiatric evaluation said that, okay, he had schizophrenia and stuff, but they didn't say that he is deemed a threat to society. That's also something they left out, and that's something that's always included. Then we can then better understand, like, okay, prison could also be something where he could have proper access to care, so he would have a doctor being able to provide him medication.
I don't think that he would.
I think he's clearly a threat to society. He just killed two people.
It would be nice to talk to doctors, several doctors, to see if he can be rehabilitated, and if there's no way to stop that train, then I would kill him.
And I want to kind of go off.
How about we take a step back? All right, let's say you're a family member.
No. Stop it.
No.
You need to quit it.
Okay, you know what?
I'm just saying.
Can I share my story, actually?
Share your story.
So you're talking about a family member, right?
Yes.
When I was young, my mom was murdered in front of me. And the people that did the crime escaped prison. And they were never caught, and they were never tried, and they were never actually able to, like, pay for their crimes. If you would have asked me a month ago, I would have been like, oh, I want retribution in the form of blood, right? But I don't think that that's necessarily the right thing to do. I'm really confused.
That doesn't
all
help
my
with
life.
closure whatsoever.
It doesn't help with closure. It doesn't help the victims.
It was really cool that she got vulnerable about her mother.
I had to share that in that moment because it was going down such a like dark and bitter and angry, you know, narrative.
Killing someone who is mentally ill, is that wrong? Cruel and unusual punishment? Is that wrong?
That's
to
what I'm
kill
trying to
someone
figure
that's not in
out.
the right mind
That's what I'm
state?
trying to figure out. Because I don't think this guy would get the care that he needed.
So you're saying that death penalty for him should still be?
Yeah, I'm switching to death penalty.
Okay.
If they're killing somebody, I think that's like a disorder in itself. There's just varied degrees. So I think like to even get to the point of pulling the trigger is already, something's not right, I think anyways. So I think you can't base it off of, oh, well, he was already like, we don't know if he was like diagnosed before this or not. So I think he pulled the trigger and it shouldn't matter how degree you were on the scale.
You guys are also realizing you're trying to kill him for something that he cannot control.
Back for the final verdict. Please raise your hand if you think the punishment should be death penalty. Okay, 3 of you. Now, how about for the life sentence? Okay. I said it had to be unanimous, guys.
I'm sorry, is that what you said?
I'm gonna give you 5 extra minutes.
I think my opinion matters because I switched from death penalty to life sentence. What changed my mind was the fact that he had mental illness. I understand that there's people who are playing the system. He got examined by experts, and I want this person to get the help they need. And yes, I feel extremely sorry for the family that lost their family, and that sucks, that's terrible. But I want this person to get the help. Maybe he gets life sentence with parole.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I want to be on the side of empathy because you don't know what this person's going through, and I feel like it's just like to pull the trigger real quick, especially if he's going through something like mental health, doesn't feel right for me. So I'd rather give him the life sentence to be, in the hopes that he's able to like go through like rehabilitation.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's no way to make this situation right. Like the only way to make it right would be to go back in time and prevent it from happening in the first place, which is not possible. So like, I think since we're dealing with someone who's schizophrenic and who has a mental illness, I think if there's a shot at them being able to seek treatment and like get the help they need and like snap back and become a regular human, I think we should give them that chance rather than
Yeah, I think it's giving the chance instead of just wiping it out completely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're talking about giving him a chance. He killed 2 people. I'm not trying to downplay mental illness.
But not under the right mind.
He killed 2 people
Wrong mind.
because of what experts say.
Y'all are still debating.
Well, it's a really hard topic. There's no like, you know, yes or no about this. You know, it's all opinion based. You know.
Yes.
It's not my job, okay? Let's try this one more time, shall we? If you think that the punishment should be the death penalty, please raise your hand. Y'all see this?
Yeah, some people are just trying to go home, you know.
All right, then life
It's almost
sentence.
lunchtime.
Life sentence, guys.
Life sentence. All right. I see like hesitating. We all agree. No objections.
More or
At
less,
all?
we all
Okay.
agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, with like an asterisk.
In the real case in 1993, the jury decided on a verdict: death penalty. The Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles advised that the defendant's sentence be reduced from death to a life sentence on the grounds of mental illness. However, Texas's governor denied the defendant's request for clemency. The defendant was executed in May 2004. This was the final verdict.
I think everybody needs a shot at rehabilitation.
You weren't happy with the final choice that you made?
No. It wasn't really everyone's voice. We should have had more people on the death penalty side, because that's what I wanted to pick, but I saw everyone else persuading me into doing it.
It kind of gives you a glimpse into like how difficult being in a jury is, and how like it shouldn't be taken for granted and made lightly of.